not of authority, staff, goal, control toward protection, leading and teaching of this chief. Ox, power, also like not, does this arm, hand, and thrust. Hand, deed, facing frontward, therefrom divided, sharpened, pressed by, and repeating, this and in this family, inside this house and tent floor plan. Mark, signed covenant, strong indicator and identification of people, place and thing of this arm. Hand, thrust, hand, deed, physically observing this, also like sit, dwell, remain, inhabit, not with an eye to see, experiencing, watching, heeding, and to understand this mighty, lifted up sea, blood, lifted up above many, also like among, together, any and all not of, from, to this massive, lifted up sea, blood, mark, sign, signed covenant, strong indicator, signature and identification of people, place and thing of this arm, hand, to physically observe, also like man, adult, if, when not facing frontward, divided therefrom, sharpened by, pressed from and to, repeating, this anointed tent peg, hooked to secure, fixed, added to this chief. Ox, also like vanity, emptiness, falsehood, worthlessness, evil, idolatry, uselessness. Those, if when not hooked to this anointed tent peg, watching, experiencing, heeding, and to understand cover, this mighty, lifted up sea. Blood, also like not among together toward, those not offspring, sons of this air, who, given kingdom of life, with eye to see, experiencing, watching, heeding to understand cover, appearance of authority, this goal, staff and control toward protection, binding, leading and teaching of, and from this mighty lifted up sea, blood of and with this arm, hand, deed, physically observing this from this lifted up sea, blood also like to hide, conceal, veil. If, when not in this family, inside this house, tent floor plan, facing frontward, divided therefrom, pressed to and from, sharpened by, repeating of this blowing, blown word, command, with mouth to speak as a sword of, and in this mark, signed covenant, signature and identification of people, place and thing, hooked to secure, fixed, and added to, and by this anointed tent peg, also like lip, language, edge, shore, of this arm, hand, thrust hand, deed, physically observing this as offspring of this air, sons, sprouting seed, all of this Yaisha, given kingdom of life, of, and in this head and person, top man from this beginning, topmost rule, first possession and inheritance. Also like to recognize, act as not to discern, to regard as foreign or strange, speaks foreign to one's thought, if, when not facing this front, divided therefrom, hooked to this anointed tent peg, hooked to secure, fixed, and added to this ye-you given kingdom of life, sons, by and through this air, as offspring, with sprouting seed of this chief. Ox, also like hating, turnings against, odiousness, if when not connected to this anointed tent peg, fixed and added inside this family, house, tent, floor plan, sun and sun on this horizon, by and through, line of day, gathered to this father, head and person, topmost rule, first possession and inheritance, by and through, addition by and through, this anointed tent peg, also like midst, inner part, inward part, within. And, if when not of this arm, hand, facing frontward to and from this arm, hand thrust, hand, deed, of, and this mark, sign. Signed covenant, strong indicator and identification of people, place, thing, also like put, place, make, if ever not of this massive, mighty lifted up sea. Blood, to lift up this head, and person, top man from this beginning, topmost rule, first possession and inheritance from, and to, this lifted up sea, blood, of life, breath, and breath of life in man, that which got revealed, to look at, behold, also like deceit, deception, treachery, feign, guile. From this massive, mighty, lifted-up sea, blood, to lift up to this sea, this, and man on his side, desiring, on trail, on, of, and to this sun, sun on this horizon, line of day, encompassing, and gathered to this Father, added, fixed, and hooked to secure, by this anointed tent peg, mark, sign, signed covenant, identification of people, place and thing of and in this arm, hand, thrust, hand, deed, physically observing this to look at life, breath, breath of life, revealed in man, of this mighty, lifted up sea, blood, also like narrowness, distress, this arm, and hand, thrust, hand, deed, physically observing this, fixed and added inside, anointed tent peg, facing frontward and divided therefrom, to and from this arm, hand, with eye to see, experiencing, watching and heeding to understand cover, this massive, mighty, lifted up sea, blood to lift up, also like saved, delivered, rescued, brought to safety, made open, free, safe, succor, freed, made capacious, sufficient to live in abundance. This arm and hand, thrust hand, deed, physically observing this and this anointed tent peg, hooked to secure, as man on his side, desiring, on trail, of this arm, hand, physically observing this chief, ox, of, and to this massive, mighty, lifted up sea. Blood, also like brought out, came out, to depart, made fair, beautiful, neat, clean. Anything all if went away from this mighty, lifted up sea, blood, inside this tent wall, facing frontward, divided thereof into this palm of hand, open to tame. Allow, also like dark, darkness, destruction, if when connected, hooked to secure, fixed, added, to this anointed tent peg, as man on his side, desiring, on trail, of authority, this goal, control toward protection, this binding bind, leading and teaching of, and to this massive, lifted up sea, blood, joined to, and also by this anointed tent peg, mark, signed covenant, sign, and identification of people, place and thing, also like no shadow of death, grave, connected to this anointed tent peg, to this mighty, lifted up sea. Blood, also like any bond, chain, fetter, this arm, and hand, thrust, hand, deed, and by deed, physically observing, as offspring of this air, sons, sprouting seed, Yahweh, given kingdom of life, mark, signed covenant, signature, and identification of people, place and thing unto this sun, sun of this horizon, line of day, encompassed and gathered to this father, also like tore away, drew off, pulled, removed.